Let's just go through the list. Another thing you can't say is that maybe January 6th, while appalling on one level, maybe it was not an insurrection.
So let me talk about, I haven't talked about this much in the campaign. I'll be very honest with you. You want to know what caused January 6th? There's such a temptation to say that there's one man whose name is unspeakable. We can't.
No, first of all, it's QAnon. It's QAnon.
It's QAnon. You want to know what caused January 6th? Is pervasive censorship in this country in the lead up to January 6th. You tell people in this country they cannot speak, that is when they scream. You tell people they cannot scream, that is when they tear things down. And so the reality is, we were told that you could not question where the virus came from when we all knew it came from a lab in Wuhan, which now they admit. We were told that you could not send a private message to someone on the eve of an election that Hunter Biden's laptop story was actually a true story worth considering before an election. You were systematically suppressed. So think about this. You told you had to be locked down, had to take a vaccine that was mandated and forced down your throat, stay locked down in your home while Antifa and BLM roam and burn the streets of this country. So that's the lead up of one full year of telling people you have to shut up, sit down, and do as you're told. And then you tell them, okay, there's an election where you didn't get the information that you needed, such as the Hunter Biden laptop story being real and suppressed. That's what caused January 6th, is a cycle of censorship in this country. And until we look ourselves in the mirror and admit truth on that, we will not move forward as a country. And I think that's the real cause. And we're not, and I'm sorry to say this, Tucker, but I think until we reckon with that reality, I worry that is the beginning of, it's a friendly parley compared to what's to come, unless we step up and speak truth, restore integrity, and actually lead us to who we are as a people, rather than sweeping the truth under the rug.
I am awed by his wordsmithing, his ability to continually flow with his verbiage without missing a beat. And when you hear something that you know is true, do you think that January 6th would have been as likely if we hadn't been locked down, as he said, if we hadn't been told that we could not communicate about the Hunter Biden laptop, which they lied to us about, when they told us that we had to take a vaccine that we knew early on was not as efficacious as they were telling us about, that they were lying to us, and you could lose your job and you just had to shut up and take it? Do you think that January 6th would have happened if America had operated as America and freedom of speech had been upheld? This is why censorship is the tool of the powerful that they wield in order to get us to comply, and why it is the First Amendment of the United States. The ability to speak freely is how we settle our differences peacefully without resorting to violence. And they allowed Antifa and BLM out into the streets like those New York lawyers that got 1 year for throwing a Molotov cocktail into a car. And yet somehow those who invaded the Capitol on January 6th, who walked in, are still in prison. And the QAnon shaman who led a prayer after being escorted by police into the Senate chambers received multiple years in jail. Yes, I wish January 6th wouldn't have happened, but don't tell me that it wasn't a partial psyop by the left in order to further take control and come down with a hammer upon those who they hate. When you hear Vivek Ramaswamy state this, yes, this is true. This is something that has not been brought up a heck of a lot. But what he says is true. And thank you, Vivek. Thank you for bringing this to the nation's attention. Thank you.